caddisflies. There are all sorts of different things. Elk-hair caddis, beadhead caddis, the whole thing. But fishermen are trying to duplicate these things. Okay, caddisfly now has egg, larva, pupa, and adult. It has metamorphosis like a butterfly. So it's complete. So what you're going to see with the caddisflies are a larva that looks something as a head, a thorax, and then a big fleshy abdomen. This is from side view, with maybe some gills coming off of here. 3 legs. Smaller antenna. But it's long and tubular, and it may look like this. It has a claw here, but it doesn't have any tail filaments like this. It may have a couple of small structures, but then it may have a case. Caddis means case. So somebody showed me a little rock case. There's stick cases, there's twig cases, there's spiral cases. There are some caddisflies that, make a spiral case. It looks like a snail. And I remember one of my professors really laughing because he got a top student on that by just saying, what is the phylum for this critter? And the kid put down mollusk because he thought it was a snail. But it wasn't. It's an insect. So anyway, that's another entomologist joke. Anyway, so now we get into here. The Diptera, these are true flies. All these other things are called flies, but these are true flies. Things like houseflies, horseflies. My mind's going blank. Snipe flies. Maybe some other flies.
Crane flies.
Crane flies. Non-biting flies. Mosquitoes. Those sorts. Fruit flies, yeah. Any kind of true fly that's a Diptera. But as far as we're concerned, this, what we'll see primarily is a larva. And you're going to have something that's long and tubular, and it may have some little legs part of the way. It may have a series of legs here, but it doesn't have a well-defined head. It may have a head end that it can retract. But you picked up crane flies. They look like flaccid cigars. Maybe you've seen them. They're fairly long. But it's the larval stage that you're primarily looking at, but it isn't well-defined like these. So that's it. That's a true fly. But now, the reason we separate these a little bit further, because there's levels of information. The chironomids are a family within the true flies that are what we call midges. They swarm, but they don't bite. But you've heard of black flies? They bite. You've heard of mosquitoes? They pierce. But the chironomids are just more nuisance midges. I mean, they just kind of fly around and swarm. But in this family, sometimes they will be the bulk of all the insects you collect. And many times, though, they're an extremely difficult group to identify. You're going to see things in here, and they are C-shaped, very thin, with a couple of little hooks here, and a very defined head capsule.
In a light color.
In a light color, perhaps, but some can be red or green or so on. But this is probably the bane of aquatic biologists' existence, keying these things out. I have a colleague that works on these, Dan McGuire, in Espanola, and he and I team up on these. And I can collect all of these things without too much trouble, identify them and so on. But in the chironomids, he can come up with maybe in a collection 20 or 30 different chironomid midges. Many of you don't know what I really mean on that, but these things are so small that we call these macroinvertebrates. Anything that you can see with the unaided eye is probably a millimeter, 2 millimeters long. These things are so small, and most people pass them over. But you have to take them, maybe 2 millimeter long specimen. You know how long that is? That's very, very small. You take the head, put it on a glass slide, put some asphyxiative on it, put a cover slip on it, smash the head, it fans out, then you can look at the mouth parts, the antenna, there's a plate called a labial plate that shovels food to the mouth. It's hell, pardon me, son. But this is a very difficult group to work with. Very difficult group to work with. But there's information in there because we can, this has eye spots, double eyes. It's just unbelievable. But we separate these out because that then carries us a little bit further. So we separate the midges from the true flies. But they don't have, in this case they do have a well-defined head. Here they don't. But once you see them, you should recognize it.
Well, the closest thing, just be careful,